sure.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
You're not the beard, you're not the system, you're the problem.
What do you guys want to talk about? Before the game, we just can't fuck around and oh shit.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT! Come on now, dog. Come on, man. Dump the muckle. Bruh.
Picasso of the paint, able to levitate.
To a question a lot of Mavs fans have, how confident are you about being able to retain Jalen Brunson as part of this team?
We can pay him more than anybody. Or an hour away from where I was born. Yeah. Parents live on the East Coast, whole family's on the East Coast. So I started thinking like, this could be a real thing. And so then here we are.
Best move you made.
Best move.
What did you learn about Jalen Brunson in this series? He averaged better than 27 a game, whether you were on the floor or not.
I mean, he's been great since year one, but I think the leap he took this year, since the start of the season, has been amazing. Like I said, he should be in the combo for the most improved, but that's fast. But he's showing everybody that he's worth a lot of money.
You're better being in luxury tax hell with a potentially overpaid Jalen Brunson versus being in luxury tax hell without a Jalen Brunson.
Tim, I understand that Jalen Brunson may be on his way to New York. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, there's no maybe about it. And this is something that has become pretty clear here in recent days. The Mavericks went into the offseason, even this month, confident they'd be able to keep Jalen Brunson.
So we go into free agency, right? And then I have a meeting with the Knicks. And then after the Knicks, there's a scheduled meeting with the Mavs, right? Is everything I'm saying factual so far, Mark?
Kind of, sort of, except for the meeting part wasn't quite the way it was set up, right? Because they wanted us to come to New York, and we were like, okay, but what are we going to discuss? We need to have some reference on what we're going to be talking about if we come to New York. Right. And, we're like, we want to keep them, but we're not going to just show up in New York for you just to say no. Right. And, like I told you, there was a time where it was, okay, what is the number? Give us a feel. Well, can't talk to JB. He's going to a wedding. And that was pretty much the last we heard.
Let me go.
Question a lot of Mavs fans have how confident.
Oh Lord, that did not work out the way I wanted to work out. All right, man. What's up? Look. Before we get this show started, I just want to say I appreciate everybody tuning in. I know it's been a rough end of the season or off season. We're all anticipating this new season, but hey, stuff happened yesterday, and we got to talk about it today. But I just want to make sure everybody knows that this is the last time we'll ever talk about this. Hopefully, this is the last time Mark Cuban and Jalen Brunson ever talk about this. But I had to put together an amazing crew today. Well, one of them's already with me the most of the time, but we got a special guest today. And again, this is Midnight Mavness. So anything goes, no holds barred. We about to get it started, all right? So without further ado, let me go ahead and bring up my co-host. Y'all already know who he is, STIX.
I didn't do fucking shit. I didn't rig shit.
Hey, look at that. STIX is back.
You didn't do it. You didn't play the bruh sound after Cuban. Come on. You were bruh. There you go.
I'm going to get your comments about that intro here in a second. But we got another. We got a special guest. One of the biggest YouTubers on the planet when it comes to making Dallas Mavericks content. And he going to dominate this field, man. We all rooting for him. It's the homie, Marcel from the Mavericks Digest. Go ahead and get it going, man.
Mavericks Digest.
Look at you, man.
Yes, sir.
Butter me up. I ain't that special. But this does change everything. What we're going to talk about today. It's very important. Changes everything. This means this unlocks everything for the Mavericks. This has major implications.
This is huge.
This is huge. This is crazy. This is
Shocking.
Breaking news. Jalen Brunson speaks again about something that happened 2 years ago.
Hell yeah. Before we get started, what do y'all think about the intro, man?
Fire. I loved it. I wanted to use it. If I were to make a video about Jalen Brunson, I would steal that from you and put it in my own video. I love it.
Yeah. Is that how you get so many views? Stealing content? Oh, I did it. I said it after that comment.
Hey, if they can find it, we can talk about it.
That's what people go on Twitter and say, right? You only got there because you stole content, bro.
Oh yeah, you still content. You make it your own.
Funny enough,
No,
I had someone try to like call me out for that because they saw a tweet that I took from Twitter in reference in a video. Like, oh, so you just take tweets and just steal the content? I'm like, so when people like put out information, I use that information. Otherwise, I'll just be in front of a camera saying a bunch of stuff with no reference and no proof. And who are my sources? Trust me, bro.
Well, I mean, you might as well
teach
you're just a legitimate news source now. Haven't you seen most news articles now? It's like, hey, here's what happened today. Tweet, 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 tweet.
That's all it is.
That's not an article.
No. Twitter is news.
Hey, Stix, are you on your headphones microphone or your microphone? I feel like I'm.
Stix,
I feel like I'm getting hit.
I'm on my normal one.
Oh, okay. There it goes. Well,
Yeah,
I guess
is that
because you're
better?
closer to the mic now, it sounds better. Yeah, it sounds better now.
Is this better if I get it like this?
Hey, yo.
Oh, like you disappeared.
Hey, yo. Fine, I'll sit closer.
Hey, yo.
That's the one problem with this microphone. It is further back. I need to eventually get another one. I need to look cool like
look where I
Marcel
have this
and,
one.
have the bar, showing up. And my kid has that. I don't have it,
Yeah, I need one of those. That intro was far. Hey, I appreciate it, man. I had to put in some work. Salute to the world boss on Twitter. I was looking for the clip where Cuban said we could pay him more than anybody, and I could not find it. I mean, that man found it for me like within a second, bro. So that was pretty dope. Who we got in the building, man? Oh, we got. Do I see? I spy a latte in the building. What's up, latte? Appreciate you. What's up, TGK Sticks? Also, Marcel. We also got Gina Kim in the building.
Daddy, chill.
Hey, TGK. Hey, Marcel. Honestly, I don't really care. I wish both the Mavs fans and the media would let this go. Mavs are doing well, and Brunson is doing well. We good now. Well, hey, we were done with it, but hey, the actual people involved in this thing,
right?
Yeah, we were done with it, and the people involved with it spoke about it, and I just wanted to utilize this episode for us to deep dive into that entire podcast. So before we get started, man, anything y'all want to like break off as far as like a monologue from each one of y'all? Like anything y'all want to say before we get into the details of that podcast?
I mean, without going full detail on it, I mean, at the moment, it's just another example for me of why I think Mark Cuban, or why I'm glad Mark Cuban's gone. I mean, the man is nothing more than a self-absorbed billionaire that seems to be too bored to do anything besides try to keep himself in the news. And it's all he cares about. And he's like, oh, crap, I'm not getting enough attention on Twitter from Elon. Oh, I'm going to go get another interview with Jalen Brunson and try to blame it on Brunson. Oh, I'm going to look good now. Okay, cool guy. So it's just Mark Cuban being Mark Cuban at the end of the day. And I mean, I'll go into more later as we talk about certain topics on it, but it's not a shocker. But I think he just wanted to be relevant. He wanted to get his name in the news.
Well, what do you say, Marcel?
I'm gonna have to go against that, Sticks. I feel like even though the three of us here are done with this conversation, we've been done with this conversation. We are in a very good spot right now. I would say if we failed to make it back to at least the Western Conference Finals since losing Jalen Brunson, sure, we need to have this conversation because what the hell happened, right? But we've been having our own success, so it's like, what's there to talk about? I'll speak for myself. I still have a lot of love and respect for Jalen Brunson. He got drafted the same year as Luka. You know, he had to prove himself again, right, with Rick Carlisle after he just proved himself in college to be a champion. You know what I mean? So, like, Jalen Brunson is a player who I respect a lot because he got out the mud and he proved himself. But, and we'll speak about this later in this video, but when family gets involved, it's kind of hard to really, make a clear decision. But as far as Mark Cuban bringing this up, I think there is a subgroup of fans that just won't let this go. I've definitely seen on my channel where people still talk about it. I've never made a video about Jalen Brunson on my entire channel, and yet I still see comments about why didn't we bring back Jalen Brunson? It was why did we drop the ball on that? So it's like, I think this was needed just to put it to rest. We now know the story. After today, shut up.
Dang, I wish I had a sound effect that said "shut up." I don't think I have one. No, Damn, I got this one. Get up! I got get up, but not shut up. All right, man. What is it? Next, Mark Cuban is going to be on a podcast with DeAndre Jordan. That is funny right there.
Get your fat ass back here.
All right, man. So let's go and let's dive into this. So
you better watch out. You'll get Chris Isaac on you talking about fat asses. Okay.
We don't body shame. We don't.
Why the fuck you lying?
Oh my God! I didn't even know I had that sound effect. Hold on. All right. Let's go and let's talk about this podcast between Mark Cuban and Jalen Brunson and why they decided to have this podcast. I don't think I understand players now are doing podcasts. I kind of liked when they didn't, you know. I like when they would just kind of hone in the craft and not always
you don't like
the scenes.
You don't like when Micah Parsons is getting his butt whooped after San Francisco 49ers, and then he's on there talking about it like nothing just happened on his podcast. Like, hey guys, let's talk about that.
Hell no. I really don't.
I don't mind
about Micah. I don't like.
Well, I don't mind when retired players make a podcast. That's fine.
Yeah.
If you're currently still playing, I don't care what you have to say. I really don't. Like when Paul George speaks, I go deaf. I don't care what you have to say, bro. Get out the first round of the playoffs. Come on.
Like, when have you ever seen a podcast where a current player and a former owner now talking about negotiations that didn't work, right? I've never seen that in my life. So I'm just like, why are we
you shouldn't
here?
see it again.
Shouldn't. I mean, it shouldn't be a thing.
I think it's a good thing and a bad thing. Like, I think for optics, it looks stupid. Like, is Adam Silver on this call to make sure there's no tampering going on? Because this is weird. Like, why is an owner going on a podcast with a player, right? And especially an ex-player. But I think it's also a good thing because it's you're seeing a new NBA. Like, a lot of people, and what I'm about to say is I'm surprised I haven't heard this yet. But Michael Jordan would never have done a podcast while in the NBA. You know what I mean? We're not that NBA anymore. It is a new age. It's a lot different now. But like I said earlier, I'd much rather listen to ex-players than current players because you're going to say whatever you have to say so your contract isn't messed with or your next contract isn't messed with. If you're a retired player, you kind of don't care.
Right. And that's what's so weird about this podcast. To me, it felt tense in certain moments, especially that part that I showed where Mark Cuban was like, well, it's not entirely true. And I was like, oh, here we go. And then when Jalen Brunson brought up the dad thing. But before we get into all that, so let's start at the beginning part where they brought up the contract and how the whole negotiations went through and how the communication kind of fell off. I'll start with you, Sticks. What anything about that conversation that stood out to you that either made you, that was a surprise to you, was new news to you, or that made you side in any way with that conversation prior to the previous perceptions that we had of this?
Are we talking about the whole start of it, not flying to New York, that whole part? We're just gonna go with
that whole part before. Okay. Yeah, let's talk about everything before the dad part because that's where I feel it almost took a turn. But yeah, before that part.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. You're in a negotiation. Mark Cuban comes out, he played the video, and he says, we can offer him more money than anybody. Then Jalen Brunson his dad goes up there, as he says, and he says, okay, I'm gonna go meet with the Knicks. They can't offer as much as we can offer. We all know that. It's just a reality. They can't offer as much. His dad is now up there. That's naturally going to give someone an incentive to say, well, my dad's there. If I want to play, go play there. As he said, I'm from, that area and all these things that you see in the clip, the intro you played. And it's okay, well, that's already an incentive. So as someone who's in sales myself, I already know now I'm behind the 8 ball, right? I know that there's a leg up for the Knicks. The only thing I've got is money. The last thing I'm going to say is, well, I want to know your money amount before I fly to New York. Mr. Billionaire Mark Cuban that flies all over the world, doing shows, doing things constantly. Oh, all of a sudden now you can't afford a flight to New York to go hang out with probably some other friends of yours in New York and have a conversation. You couldn't just simply say, you know what, forget it. I know I'm you know what, this is where we're at. We're willing to do max contracts. Because you know at that point, unless you're Mark Cuban, which Mark Cuban and Jerry Jones I compare a whole lot for a reason. They both play these stupid mind games. They think they're rich enough that everybody's just going to be like, oh, they're so smart. And they're not. They're good in certain parts of business, but they're really bad in contract sports business. I mean, we've seen it for the entire time Mark Cuban's been here.
CeeDee Lamb.
And so he should have just flown his ass up there. And if he wasn't going to make the attempt to fly up there, which, as we now know, look at the Kyrie Irving Clay thing. Who was the first one to go see Clay? Kyrie Irving flew to Clay. Did LeBron? No, LeBron picked up a phone call. If Mark Cuban flies to New York, says, here's the deal. This is what we're going to offer you. This is what we think of you. This is how important you are to us. He might look at that and say, damn, these guys really care. I've got history there. They appreciate me. This is what they're willing to do for me. He flew up here knowing he was up against the wall with my dad being there now. This is the chance I've got. Man, that means a lot. Instead, Mark Cuban said, well, I'm not going to waste my time unless I know what we're looking at.
Oh, yeah.
I think at that point, Jalen Brunson, you hear him in there talking about it. I think at that point, Jalen Brunson said, man, he don't care. He doesn't care. And he probably said, he's playing stupid about the whole, oh, I didn't know you called again. There's no way they didn't tell him. But at the end of the day, Mark Cuban didn't show the effort. And we can go through the last 15 years of showing where Mark Cuban didn't show the effort for players he should have shown the effort on and let people walk constantly on us. This is nothing new for Cuban. Again, why I'm glad he's gone. I'm glad he's out of the contract decision making. Unfortunately, as a still remaining Cowboys fan, I still have to do with Jerry Jones on the other team, though.
Yeah,
but, there we go.
What do you think, Marcel?
Man, Sticks, we're gonna be at odds tonight, man. Because
that's okay.
But I mean,
I got a perspective on this as well.
Before I say what I want to say, I'm not paid by Mark Cuban to say anything that I'm going to say. All right,
you sure? Did you just get a sponsorship from the Mavs or something?
So what? Use code Mavericks Digest for 20% off. Anyway, but I mean, I understand what Sticks is saying as far as like showing effort and like, oh wow, they want me there. They drafted me, they gave me a shot. Like I get all the sentimentals for basketball reasons, and I think that would work if his father wasn't already going to go to New York. And I'm not going to play the what if game. I'm not going to talk about anything I don't know. But just from what Mark Cuban has said and what Jalen Brunson has said, it seems like there was obvious intent for him to go to the Knicks outside of any of any contract negotiation, because you should have listened to the team who can pay you more. You should have listened to them first. We should have been the first ones on your list to have a conversation, but you went to New York, and then your agent was giving Mark Cuban the runaround. So I don't blame Mark Cuban for not flying out to New York if I'm just going to waste my time. Like, we did fly Kyrie out to go talk to Clay. I think that was a very smart move because Clay and Kyrie, they have history together as competitors, but also they got a gold medal together. So there is a relationship there. And if you look at those two players, they're very similar, right? Kyrie has been, well, before the Mavericks, was shunned by the NBA world, it felt like, right? He came to Dallas, and I don't want to say he reinvented himself, but he was able to rebrand himself almost, if that's a better term for it. And Klay Thompson, I mean, we just saw, what was it, either today or yesterday, I think it was like yesterday, that Steph Curry got like a 1 year, $62 million contract. So you're paying Steph Curry crazy money, rightfully so. He's the best player in your franchise history, one of the best to ever play. But you also gave Draymond Green a $100 million contract after he knocked out Jordan Poole and forced you to trade him. And that same year, he also got suspended again for putting his hands on another player. And then Klay Thompson, the guy who put his body on the line, the guy who missed 2 seasons with injuries because he wanted to come back and help you continue to win championships. The same player who, after he came back from injury, that same season helped you win a championship. That's not the guy you want to bring back. That's not the guy that you feel like, for all that you've done for us, we will continue to pay you and bring you back. You want him to back up Brandon Podziemski? Brandon Podziemski? crazy, right? So in that situation, yes, Kyrie is the best person to go out there and speak on our behalf to get him to come to Dallas. And obviously, I feel like Klay Thompson was already watching us in the finals and realized that's where he needed to be. Kyrie was just the icing on the cake. But as far as just shifting it back to Jalen Brunson, when the family's involved, it's very hard. Kawhi Leonard. The Raptors were not getting Kawhi Leonard to come back once when his uncle Dennis was involved. Say, hey, we're going to LA where the family is. Kawhi was gone. There was no way, right? So when the family gets involved, it's hard. But if there was ever an inkling, if there was ever a shot in the dark that we could have kept Jalen Brunson, he would have talked to us first. Why was Julius Randle and Josh Hart at the matchup against the Jazz second round?
Yeah.
Why are they courtside? Weird, right? So I think this goes beyond that year's free agency. I think that goes back to the deadline of he's going to New York. It's already in play. We missed our shot because we can pay you more. Mark Cuban said, I can pay you more than any other team, which is true. And yet, Jalen Brunson, you've been taking less money since you got to New York.
Yep.
It's just the convenience of being with his father, being with his old college teammates, and being able to actually have success, because we can all agree that Jalen Brunson would not have been this type of player if he stayed in Dallas. So it is what it is.
You know, my perspective. Oh, hold on. Well, let's go ahead and just read a super chat. We got a super chat in the building from Jared. What's up, man?
His people are completely literal. Metaphors are going to go over his head.
Nothing goes over my head. My reflexes are too fast.
Yeah, man. He says, early night for me, guys. 3:30 a.m. Comes early. I'll catch the replay in the morning. Just dropped in and leave a like and dropped a $5 for the boys. Hey, I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah, I know, man. Hey, off season super chats. Those are nice. Those are nice. This is very rare.
I haven't seen them in a while.
Well, I'm very appreciative of it. But so my take on this is, like, I felt like the conversation that they were having, they were holding back details. You can tell Mark Cuban was holding back, but he was still trying to give you enough of like the glimpses on the behind the scenes. Jalen Brunson was very careful with his words.
Well, yeah, what he's saying from my viewpoint, from what I saw,
from what I saw,
yeah.
When people say that means they knew more than they actually knew, but they're trying to protect themselves. Trust me, right. I've seen it. So I felt like we all knew there was some elite tampering going on. The agent was like family or related to like the Knicks or something like that. The dad went to New York. They had everybody down here watching it. Like, we knew this was tampering all along. And even if the Mavericks were able to give Jalen Brunson $30 million, part of me seeing that, like, just like you just said, Marcel, seeing that he just took a pay cut, I don't think he even comes back to the Mavericks for $30 million. No. Like, and I get Stick's perspective, like, oh, you didn't even make the effort. But it's like, if you see all these things lining up, it's like you know, when you're dating a girl and she's like, well, you know, is dating you or dating the rich guy? It's like, well, what's the point? You know, go ahead, go over there. It's where you wanted to be anyway, you know? So I understand Mark's perspective. I also understand Jalen's perspective. I just wish they would have been way more honest. I don't think they were honest enough. I don't think they got into details enough. I just think they touched the surface a little bit and let it be, and then that's all it was. Like, I was a little bit fascinated with how Mark Cuban did pull back the curtain a little bit. I thought that was kind of cool, but it was just like, it just wasn't enough. Like, we needed to hear more. You know what I'm saying? So, I was just surprised that they even had the convo, but then to not even go deep into the convo, I was like, what's the point? What's the point? Like, because if you listen to a lot of Jalen Brunson's like previous interviews, he gives you more insight. He's like, oh, we could have had a deal done at 55 and we didn't get the deal done then. And then we go into the playoffs and I'm like, nah, let's just wait till after the playoffs. Like, none of that came up in the conversation. He didn't give us any of that. So, but he has been consistent saying from his perspective that he didn't hear anything. He said it on the All Up in Smoke Up in Smoke podcast. He said it everywhere before. So it's just, I don't know. I feel like he knows more, and they're just still protecting themselves from tampering, and that's what that is to me.
Well, and I mean, think that. By the way, did you see what BJ $5? He said that's for my new hat fund. I'm just wondering if it has.
Let me play the sound effect for Big J, man. What's up, Big J?
I got a big amount. I took a different route. I am the pick of the little.
Appreciate you, Big J. Appreciate you. Oh, my I was about to double
Oh,
up.
and he double plays it. So, I mean, this thing, like, I don't disagree with what you're saying, Marcel. My point is, you knew that. You knew they were effectively tampering. You knew they hiring his dad. You knew what they were trying to do. The only shot Mark Cuban had was to fly up. There's my point. And he didn't even make that attempt. So at that point, you're done. You're done. Like this whole Mark Cuban, well, you know, he didn't call us back. We threw out an offer. Like, shut up. Like that's my point is like, and someone else pointed out, Mark Cuban flew to Slovenia for Luka. Right?
I think that's a little bit different though, Sticks. Like flying to Slovenia. Like who's not going to fly to Slovenia to re-sign Luka? Who's not?
Well, I get that, but my point is like, what I'm tired of hearing Mark Cuban and what we've always heard from Mark Cuban, and that's why I said I compare him to Jerry Jones, is it's always like, well, we tried, well, we did everything we could. And then when you hear the other sides, it's like, nah, you really didn't. You pretty much said like, this is where we want to be. You're past this. We're not going to pay you. But then every time Jerry or Mark talk about it, they're like, well, we really wanted to do it, and we were all in, and we were trying, and it's like, but you aren't. So, like, I'm fine with Jalen being gone, and I get all that, and, like, I'm not one of these that's like, oh, what if we had Jalen? Oh, I don't care. I haven't cared at any point. It's business. Right. But just don't lie. Like, stop with the stupid games, and that's all this conversation is. It's just them two playing more games in the media again.
Now, what happens if Mark Cuban flies to New York, and Jalen Brunson's being held hostage in his own house, and you got Mark Cuban riding around the 5 boroughs? Where's Jalen Brunson? Yeah. Where's Jalen Brunson? Is he in the Bronx? Is he upstate? Is he in Manhattan?
Then he could go look at some of his other investments in New York.
I think Mark Cuban would probably feel safer doing that in Houston over New York. I don't know. But I mean, like, I get it. Like, if you show the effort, then no one can say that you didn't try. However, if you, as an owner, feel like maybe I shouldn't be doing all of this, or, you know, maybe it should be simpler than me like, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe I shouldn't have to do this. Maybe we should just have a conversation. Why do I have to go through all these hoops? And I get that, but it's like either we ask our owners, because I know we have new owners now, but let's say it's still Mark Cuban. It's like either we ask Mark Cuban to stop being so involved, or we ask Mark Cuban, please get more involved. Like, which one is it? Are you Jerry Jones, or are you the owner of the Thunder who that lets the GM do everything?
And, you know, I feel like both sides just didn't try hard enough. Listening to that convo, it's like Jalen Brunson didn't try to call once he heard there was nothing going on, but also the agent not communicating with Mark Cuban.
See, now I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I think that he did. That's why he kept it from Brunson? My perspective. He kept real quickly when Mark said, yeah, we called you. We called your agent. And every time he'd be like, well, but Mark, from what I saw, it's like, dude.
I mean, if Mark Cuban really didn't call, then Jalen Brunson would be like, no, that's a lie. You didn't call.
Yeah,
right. And he didn't say, "Nah, you didn't call." So he knew the call existed.
Yeah,
he knew. He's just playing stupid with it, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like at the end of the day, this is it's effectively beating a dead horse. But obviously, they came out. It's a slow time frame right now. There's not a lot to talk about, so we're covering right. So we're covering it because, like I said, I only reason I care about it is I think it's just one more example of Mark Cuban being Mark Cuban, and it's why when they didn't show him up at the end of the year, we knew he was gone, and when the new governor, which I can't stand that name, but the new governor comes in and he's like, nah, we didn't spend $2 billion and we're not and not run this thing. This is our show now, and I was like, oh, thank God. Like, I'm done with Cuban. And we've seen it. We've seen the difference in trades, the difference in this offseason. You think this offseason would have happened with Mark Cuban still in charge?
As long as we have Nico.
He would have done because he likes Derrick Jones Jr. He would have done whatever to do Derrick Jones Jr., even if it screwed our salary cap. Nico said, no, you playing games. I don't need you that bad. I can replace you, and we don't screw ourselves on this new salary cap. That's the difference in the ownership.
See what Big J
or
said.
He would have just let everybody walk, which he's done plenty of times before too.
Like Big J said, his agent is the Knicks GM's son. Why would he tell the truth? See, that's the other thing. Like, tampering. I think they're tampering. There was elements to this that didn't even give Mark Cuban and the Mavericks a fair shot. I do believe that. I do believe that it was that, because
he said that WTM, so he had to correct himself.
Wrong channel.
It's all good.
Take his moderator access away. Get him out of here.
Yeah. How you gonna be a mod and then not get it right? You know what I'm saying? Let me give him a crowd boo right quick. No, but I do think that there were things that, you know, didn't give Mark Cuban and the Mavericks a fair shot at getting Jalen Brunson. Now, you know, do they go to New York? I think at that point they just felt like it was their waving a white flag. That's pretty much what I got from it. So, but yeah, man, not to beat this convo to the ground. The GM is Jalen's godfather. Yeah, bro, come on now. They were all working in tandem to make sure he was a New York Knick. And if they were going to feed the Mavericks wrong information, and honestly, I felt like, because if you saw at the end, he talks about how, and I guess we'll segue into this, right? So Jalen Brunson brings up how he felt like the jab to his dad from Mark Cuban, blah, blah, blah. And Mark Cuban was quick to be like, it wasn't a jab, Jalen, for real, it wasn't. And then you hear him apologize to Jalen, but Mark Cuban talked about how difficult it was in those negotiations. And I'm telling you, this is why I feel they didn't speak enough, or they didn't give us enough details. Not that I want them. I don't care. In general, all three of us don't care. We're ready for this next season, but this is a topic we're going to talk about. So for people that might take this to Twitter, oh, why is TGK and Marshall and Stix talking about? Bro, what else is there to talk about?
Do what I want. We do what we want.
I do what I want. So I feel like they didn't break into like enough details. But the fact that Mark Cuban said it was a very like unique and difficult negotiations, that lets me know that there was more to it, because they didn't speak more to it, right? So, but that's why I felt like the entire family angle, the New York Knicks, they had every single thing lined up to make sure Jalen was a New York Knick, and the Mavericks had no shot.
Yeah, and I didn't think it was a shot at his father. I don't know, when Jalen Brunson said that, I was like, it sounds kind of soft right now, bro. Because you need to understand that when it comes to sports, if there's a lot of reasons why players go to certain teams, right? There's a lot of reasons why players play for certain organizations. Like LeBron only ever chose the Lakers because his family is in LA right now. So of course it's easier for him, right? Or like I said earlier, with Kawhi Leonard going to the Clippers, his family's there. He doesn't want to stay in Toronto. He would have loved it, but no, right? So when players, and I always thought I always told myself, if I was a professional athlete, I would never think this way. I would only care about winning and making money. But for a lot of people, a lot of athletes, there's a lot of emotions behind of like where they want to play, how close you to family, I feel like when you're younger, you kind of care more about the nightlife and what can I do when I'm not playing. But when you get older, you do kind of care more about family. And I think with Jalen Brunson, like I truly believe that when it comes to Jalen Brunson, if I can give you an organization where you're playing in the same organization as your father, your godfather, and your old college teammates that you won a championship with, what can beat that? What package? Like in terms of money of a contract, how much do you pay that can beat that? Because obviously nothing if he's taking less money, right? Mm-hmm. So I mean, I think that's kind of just the nail in the coffin right there. I mean, they had a very good dialogue. Like what we said, it did feel like they were holding back information, but I think that's just to protect both of them, obviously. But the nail in the coffin should have been like, you had personal reasons. You had a personal bias to go to New York. That's it. I can't compete with family. Who can compete with family? Who can stop a player from going to play with their father? Like we just saw that in LA with LeBron James and Bronny. Like nothing will stop family from being a huge factor when it comes to negotiations in the sports world.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of like Brunson taking this contract deal, like the shorter deal, with all those connections. You think he's not getting paid on the back end somewhere?
Come on.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Come on, man. Play. Come on, that's the drop time. Let me down, TGK. As a perfect, come on, man.
Come on, man. Oh, my bad.
See, look at this guy. Like,
man, I'm busy doing other things.
I need to get a soundboard too to play when he ain't gonna stand on his toes here. You know. Yeah. Don't play it now. It's too late. You done ruined it.
Oh, my fault. My fault. Do I even got that sound effect?
Yeah, you do. You played it in your end.
Oh,
come on now, dog. Come on, man.
You gotta say boozy, man. Say boozy, and it'll you know.
This dude plays it in the intro, and then he's like, "Do I even have that sound?"
Yeah, because
this is his first day on YouTube, folks.
Yeah, he's never done this before.
I know it as the boozy sound effect. All right. Hey, does my mic sound better?
Sounds fine.
Very clear.
Yeah. I made some adjustments to it. I was like, we're gonna improve this. You know, we're gonna improve.
That's
this.
good because somehow my mic's audio will sometimes be at 50%, sometimes 30%, and I never know until I drop a video and people tell me. I'm like, oops.
Yeah, there's a lot of conspiracy on the channel. They're like, why is the mic not loud enough? And I'm like, I'm listening. I'm like, where y'all get that from? Like, it's clear. Like, volume it up.
Turn y'all's volume up. It ain't me, it's y'all.
I like when people say I'm too loud on some things. This mic helps because I stay back so I don't get as loud. I'm like, you know, there's a volume button, right? It can go down.
Turn me down.
You could turn down.
People.
You don't have to have 100%.
Let me take the opportunity now to let y'all know, hey, we got memberships here on TGK TV. If you're enjoying the Midnight Mavness, before the season starts, it's going to become a members-only show, and it's going to allow members to come up, chit-chat, do all that good stuff, leave comments. Again, if you enjoy the show, but when the season begins, it's going to be under the memberships only. Anyway, just wanted to bring that up, let y'all know those things are available. And I think it is time to...
back.
This fool went full screen. Yeah, that's what we do.
That's private chat. That wasn't in the comments. That was private chat. We're supposed to read that.
Anyway, let's go ahead and let's open up the Luca Lounge for everybody. If we can go ahead and get this this link down below, man. And let's open Luca Lounge. Where's my thing at, man? This is how we're not in mid-season form.
I got this. I got this. Do you?
Whatever, I'll do what I want.
All right, man. If y'all want to jump on the show and chit chat, let us know what you want to talk about, man. This is your opportunity. Definitely hit the link in the comments, and you'll be up here so we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. I see Nix is talking about. Let's talk about Luka's health coming in the season.
Look, Nix. You don't run the show, okay? We run the show. Don't you tell us what to do.
Stay in your lane.
But you can't click to the invite to come up to stage like Big J right now, and then you can be welcome to talk about whatever you want. I'm just saying. I'm throwing that out there.
Big J.
What's up, Big J? We got Big
What's
J
going on?
in the building. What's up, man?
Nothing much. I can confirm Luka has 2 knees. So, yeah, it's all good.
Oh, breaking news. Breaking news.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead.
Yes, 2 knees.
Breaking news.
Two of the things.
2 of them. Big J, you want to give us a summary of what you feel about the podcast from Jalen Brunson and Mark Cuban?
Like I said, I didn't pay attention because I didn't think it's important at this point. I mean, they both told their versions of the story at one point. I think both of them told a little lie. Like I said, Jalen wasn't going to stay here, so I don't think there was really anything we could do to keep him here. And like I said, once everything got revealed as far as how deep the connections went, with the father and like I said, when I found it out when that went down that Leon Rose was his godfather because it was his daddy was Leon's first client, and dude, they've been knowing each other his entire life. Like I said, he's literally his godfather. Leon Rose's son is his agent now, so I'm like, he wasn't going nowhere, man. He was going straight over there. So there was nothing we could do. And like I said, you saw that again with the discount he took to stay there. Because he wants to be there. That's where he wants to be. So.
Sticks reminds me of I saw this comment over here before we bring up Nancy. Savannah May said, think Jalen has any interest in coming back to Dallas?
No.
I think he's going to try to retire.
No, she was, hold on. She had 2, there was 2 comments. It was 2 parts. Basically, it wasn't, that's not. It was I'm surprised people like you read the comment. Yeah, I'm so surprised people think Jalen. Like, in other words, there's you gotta.
My
This is
bad.
why this is why I read
bad.
the chat. I help. This guy can't keep it.
No,
What's
just to
up,
add to
Nancy?
that-
How you doing?
Hey guys,
What's up, Nancy?
Not much.
No, yeah, Jalen Brunson not coming back.
how's everybody doing?
I mean, I'm dealing with
good,
these
you
two
know?
guys, so you know.
Sick and tired of talking about Jalen Brunson.
You know, it kind of was a little interesting because I do feel, you know, just lightly here on this subject, and then we can get into the other guys, our guys. It's such a battle of feeling like you guys, you know, didn't do enough to get Jalen, and that's been the biggest knock against Mark, and everybody went hard on Mark, but like Big Jag says, there's so many connections and they went so deep. They got hit for tampering for a reason. It was finally a little bit nice to see Jalen be a little honest and say he wanted the opportunity in New York. He just wanted it, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know, and that's okay. But to pretend that all those connections don't exist and you can't connect the dots back, you know, he didn't even fight back hard against Mark when Mark said, we did reach out, and we reached out. And then he kind of tilted his head a little bit, and he didn't say anything at first. And then he said, but from my perspective, and right, I don't know that everybody was totally being honest there, and I don't think they all were. But I just don't think it was also one-sided like everybody thought. So, I mean, I just wish at some point they would stop regurgitating the whole losing of Brunson, considering we've been in the NBA Finals. It's done. It's as much Jalen's decision as it was for, yes, somebody got away for nothing. You can moan and cry about that, but if you didn't have a GM like Nico, you're not in the finals a year and a half later or 2 years later. So be excited about what you have. The Knicks aren't in the finals, and that's no knock against the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? I mean, in a lot of ways, Kyrie gets a lot of heat for this, and he has nothing to do with any of it. But it's always, I know, but it's crazy to think, but it is. If you could see all the fans going crazy at time, every time Brunson's name come up, that somehow it's his fault, and it's not in any way. I mean, he gets blamed for a lot of things. He don't need any help getting blamed for something that's not even his fault. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's funny. I heard King the other day say, and you all know how much he loves Brunson. He's like, I'm done. I'm done. He chose to leave or whatever reason it is. And that's for any player that decides to leave the Mavericks. They're no longer a Maverick. You know, can we stop at least talking about it in the sense of being so sorrowful? You know, you just came out of the Western Conference Finals and went to the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
No one thought you were going to do that. No one.
Yeah.
And Nancy, can I kick something in with you?
Sure.
I mean, if we look at the team and we look at what we gave up to get, you know, when Jalen left, yeah, we had to give up a lot to go get Kyrie, right? Theoretically. But we've already got Dinwiddie back. I really, at this point, don't want, you know, Dodo back. So we really didn't give up a lot we didn't lose a lot to go get Kyrie. We, you know, and we, like you said, we made it to the finals. So we're not sitting here struggling. We're not lottery bound year after year. We had one soft year and we bounced right back to the finals.
The only reason why we should be talking about the whole Jalen Brunson situation is if everything that preceded that move failed. If we, you know what I'm saying, we did trade for Kyrie, but let's say we couldn't get him to re-sign and he just leaves to go to play in LA. Let's say we try and keep Derrick Jones Jr. and us trying to keep him, we lose Najee Marshall, and then subsequently we also lose Klay Thompson, right? So if everything that happened after Jalen Brunson failed, then yes, we will be talking about this because it seems like that was like the focal point. That was the first domino that fell.
But exactly.
that's not the case, though. We've had nothing but success, and I don't want to say it's because we don't have Jalen Brunson, but since that situation, we've had success where Nico has been able to improve the roster, where the team has had continued playoff success. Although we did miss the playoffs, 2 years ago, that was for Derek Lively. We were trying to set ourselves up, so that I don't really look at that as that counts, right? But everything's been good, so it's like why talk about something that already happened? And I also think what adds to that conversation and why it's going to keep being brought up is because Jalen Brunson, in a lot of people's eyes, I don't know how y'all feel, but in a lot of people's eyes, what Jalen Brunson's doing in New York, people are saying he's top 10 in the league right now. I don't say I agree with that. I love Jalen Brunson, but because he's doing so great, people are like, wow, imagine if Dallas still had that. Imagine if Dallas was able to keep that. He wouldn't be that way in Dallas.
Yeah, but there's no
A player like how Jalen Brunson is
that same
now,
player
you can't
next
play
to
that way
Luka.
next to Luka Doncic. It just doesn't work.
Well, it's not only that; it's like the poll that TGK just put up, right? And I'm not one that loves to go back. I don't like to play that whole "what happens this, what is this." Same with your life. Like, what if I kept playing this sport? I might have been a superstar. Well, you wouldn't be where you are now, and all the things, right? The variables that chain reactions from that, and that's the point: is do we get Lively?
No.
Do we get Kyrie?
No.
Do we get all these other things that because we didn't have Jalen and because of what happened last year, then we get to draft Lively because of position we're in. Then all this stuff happens. All these chain reactions happen because of Jalen missing. And I was going to bring this up earlier, and I forgot what my thought in my head about this, but Nancy made me think about it again. Did y'all hear when he said to Mark Cuban, "Well, y'all got to the finals"?
Yes, I was going to just say that.
Yeah.
Like it was almost like Jalen was like, you could hear like the attitude in the way he said that was like
a little snarky.
Why do you give a crap? You got there without me. Why are you still talking about this? So it's almost like I feel like personal opinion, almost feels like Cuban wanted to have this conversation because it seemed like Jalen was not in the mood for the conversation, and he just kept throwing little jabs at Cuban over and over and over, like. Stop playing stupid, Cuban. You know what happened. Like, why are we still talking about this? I'm happy. You guys got to the finals. What does it matter? And that's how that kind of came off at the very end of that for a while. I was just like, yikes.
Well, and the other thing is, too, when you guys were saying he took that huge discount, but to what you said, Stix, there was a comment in there, well, I hope you're getting a piece of whatever, bringing all this in, and at the same time, you're getting something out of all this. And what did he say? I want to keep that close to the chest, whether he's getting shares or whatever. I would hope, for his sake, I'm sure he's taking care of himself, and I'm sure he's not willing to do everything for nothing, but it sure does look good on the books.
Yeah, that might be another one of those Joe Smith situations.
What's that?
Those background deals. I remember with the Minnesota Timberwolves, they made a promise to him that they would hook him up later for taking a discount.
First round picks because of that.
Talking about shares to what? Was it something that his agent has or some? I don't know because I don't know what they all do and what all they have. Whatever that loop. And he smiled when he said it. He said, I hope you're getting a little piece of something. You're bringing like basically the Villanova boys in, and you're taking the sweet discounts and all of this,
I'm sure Jalen
smiled
got some
and
incentives.
Smiled and said, "I'm going to keep that close to the chest," which means, right, Big J.
Oh yeah, I mean,
you're reading behind the lines. You do really well with reading behind the lines.
That's like the Dirk deal. I mean, Dirk's going to get paid by the Mavericks for the rest of history because he took that pay cut a few years ago.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, facts. Well, that's if the new owners honor it.
Yeah, can't do Dirk.
If they want to stay in Dallas, they better. Y'all not paying Dirk no more? I hope you still have that house in Vegas, big dog.
So I just wanted to show y'all the beginning of the Jalen Brunson free agency conversation. You can see how neither one of them kind of wanted to talk about it. Check it out.
About Jalen's kind of free agency process and what that all was like from the owner's side, and Jalen what that was like from the player's side.
I'll let Mark go first. Because
I'll let you go.
No, I'll let Mark go first.
No. You're the host. I'm just a guest. I get to pick.
So me and Mark have had.
But like neither one of them wanted to go first. Like, all right. Like, well, then why is this in this podcast? I didn't watch the whole thing. The only thing I've watched is just them going back and forth with each other. I don't know. Like, obviously we're here, right? We still would have had Midnight Mavness regardless. We wouldn't be having this conversation. But you know, I've never seen that conversation be done with active players, and I don't think that's like
but you're living in a new world now, TGK, with the new podcast with players running podcasts.
Oh yeah.
Everybody want to talk these days. Everybody want to talk.
Yeah.
Everybody want a platform, you know?
Yeah, I liked when
but-
my players didn't go hang out with the enemy. Like I really, and I'll reference this, and I'll go back to Micah because he's been the most blatant of this. Like I really don't want to see Micah, my defensive end that's sacking a quarterback, hanging out for the summer and playing and shooting the shit with the quarterback of the Houston Texans. Like,
right.
Bro, that's the guy you're supposed to be sacking. Like, I don't want you to like him. I want you to not like him.
And we play them this year.
I
Imagine
know.
that.
Like it's weird.
I
like
bet you
I
Mike
know
can
we
get
want to
0
get
sacks
this.
that game.
Like,
So hold on. So how y'all feel about so how y'all feel about Luka and Jokic being BFFs?
That's a little harder because that's almost like they come back from the country thing. So that's a little different. I feel like that's like and you see when they play, they don't have that. And you also don't see Joker and Luka going to events with each other. Like they're just at an event, and because they're at an event, they're just they're
NBA
goofballs
events.
together.
Yeah, they don't go out of their way.
Usually it's
Like
an
Micah
NBA
went
event.
to China or whatever it was over there. No, was it Japan with oh my god, I can't think of his name. So CJ Stroud. Like he's going there and they're shooting videos together, and it's a whole thing, and they're shooting a podcast together, and it's like, buddy, we're best buddies. It's just, I'm sorry, like we could be best friends off the court, but you know, when we're on the field, it's over. And it's just too many of these guys, and you've seen that the last 10, 15 years. This whole like everybody's friends, and man, I need my players to want to like. I still reference this with Dirk. Hearing that Dirk and Wade had the first conversation this year, what was it this year or very last year, whatever it was, first conversation ever.
Yeah,
like that's so great. Like I love it that we were pissed. We can't stand Wade, and Dirk's still like, yeah, kiss my ass too. Like, that's.
Yeah, everybody in Dallas
Luka decided to wake up and get out of his bed.
Well,
I see we got Joe in the building. What's up, Joe?
Partner.
I was actually spending time with my son, being a family man. I wasn't in bed, so it's getting close to bedtime now.
Man, let's give him a round of applause for that, man. Good job, Joe. You know, it's a late night, and here you are still contributing to the show. Appreciate you, man. Hey, Joe, I wanted to just get your 2 cents on the whole Cuban and Brunson conversation. We talked about it for quite a while, but wanted to see if you have a different perspective on it.
I mean, my perspective is that Cuban had an opportunity to sign Brunson beforehand, and when he didn't, Brunson said he was going to test out free agency, which meant, you know, I've got all these family connections to the Knicks, and they're going to pay me $100 million over 4 years. And if you want me, it's going to take the max. And Cuban said that the relationship kind of got off on a weird, the negotiations they never really got a chance to say, hey, would you take less than a max? Because, you know, your dad got involved. And Brunson said, I kind of took exception to that and felt like it was a jab. And Cuban stood up for himself and said it wasn't a jab. It was the effing truth.
Yeah.
And I, you know, sorry to use such language, Nancy, but I kind of, I'm not a,
say the word.
no, I'm not like a particularly, you know, I'm far from a Cuban apologist, but, you know, I think he stood up for himself. It's like, yeah, man, your dad got involved. And once your dad got involved, we never even got a chance to really negotiate with you because, you know, what he didn't say was, look, man, maybe
He's not your agent.
Yeah. maybe maybe we think you're a $25 million player or something like that. And let's face facts, $25 million in Dallas is worth about, I think when I did the math on it, it's like 37% more money than, New York, in New York City in
State and
particular.
federal.
Yeah.
They pay state and federal.
I'm not even just talking
And local.
about cost of living and
local.
everything.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
cost
local
of
too. Don't forget that local tax.
That makes Jalen Brunson's little discount to the Knicks even crazier. When you
Yeah,
put that in context.
for sure. And so he was like, we never got the opportunity. But the problem is when Cuban, he never, in the summer before, he didn't extend him because Brunson, they weren't sure if he was a $13 million a year player. And, because he got benched the year before, right? I mean, Carlisle, they were playing Trey Burke over Jalen Brunson, and whether that was a good decision or a bad decision is up for debate, but that's what happened. And so they didn't sign him then whenever he would have been eligible to be traded at the trade deadline. And then they didn't sign him any time during the season because they wanted to trade him. And then after they got through to the trade deadline, then it was like the die was cast and he was gone. So I thought it was, I don't think I learned anything by that whole podcast. I just think that what happened is that I was glad to see Cuban stand up to Brunson and say, "No, man, your dad did get out over his skis. He did exceed his authority." And what he didn't say is, "You guys lost a pick for it," because we know it's true.
Yeah.
And so that's how I thought about it. I don't know that I learned much. So
speaking of Rick Brunson's dad, he says, we got to figure it out if Dallas wants him. Not words. Rick Brunson told ESPN, ain't no discount, so don't put it on us. Don't tell me you love me. Show me.
Yeah, but that's...
Yeah.
Man. But then when they were like, hey, we'll come to... I did think when he said, we're going to come to New York, but Jalen's not going to be there. That's insulting, right? I'm not doing that. I don't blame him. Yeah. So, but I know it was good to see Cuban admit all the misses he's had.
Yeah, he's had plenty. He's had plenty.
Been a lot.
Yeah.
We could do a whole show on all his misses. All of
Let's
them.
not.
Like, hell, we could list them.
Let's not.
Well,
Let's
no
ourselves in our
sticks?
mind.
Yeah,
It's TGK.
What's
You
up?
do it, but you title it. How many L's in Mark Cuban's name? Listen.
Yeah. But I kind of like Stix's analysis that, it's we don't get lively if everything went down exactly like it went down. I think that was Stix that was going through that way.
Nah,
because
Stix stole my thunder. So I was gonna like pose it to the pod, and then Stix stole my thunder.
Whatever. What? Let me get closer to this. Whatever.
Marcel, isn't it glad when Marcel and I have production meetings, man, it's all like, how can we support each other? Who's going to make who look better? And here you and Stix are. You're just like undermining each other.
Look, this show is for entertainment and fun, not for like, let's rub each other's egos and stroke each other. Come on, let's calm down.
Whoa,
Marcel.
Whoa, hey.
Yo, sir.
Hey, yo.
Is that a pause?
That's Marcel. That sounds like a little bit of hate. I guess they hate us because they ain't us.
Look. Can the old white dude in the room not be saying hate us because they ain't us? Let's calm down.
I thought it said somebody.
Stop it.
So yeah. Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday, everybody. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But we don't get there lively if we keep Jalen Brunson. We don't get PJ or Gafford, right? We don't get
Clay.
There's a lot of things that don't happen.
So that's how I wanted to question or to throw the question out there before Stix stole the thunder, right? I wanted to be like, all right, so say you kept Jalen Brunson, the likelihood of getting Derek Lively
0.
Right, it's kind of 0, right?
It's not kind of 0, it is 0. Because you would have made it to if for nothing, because part of that season still was, your coach. He seemed wore out that year. you still would have made the play-in or something, and that does not get you the first
The
round.
top
and
10
Derek
protected
Lively.
pick. Mm-hmm.
And don't
Yeah,
forget,
yeah.
Either
we
way, you
traded
guys could have
for
hit. Yeah.
Derek Lively too. Remember, we drafted
Yeah.
Kason Wallace, then traded for Derek Lively. So
Yeah, but the only
it was a
reason we
very
did
like
that-
specific situation, and how we got Derek Lively. And if you have Jalen Brunson, if you don't make those trades, if you don't slide from the playoffs to being out of the play-in, it just doesn't happen. I got a hot take though.
Uh-oh.
Hold on. Let's do the. Let's give you the floor here. Let's go.
Oh, so that. All right. So my hot take is this. Now, this doesn't apply for this year because Jalen Brunson is a much better player. But 2 years ago, or however many years it's been, when he left us to go to New York, I was on the fence where, like, I don't think Jalen Brunson is worth a max deal. I think you could give him something a little bit less. But if you give him that money, who else are you getting? You ain't got nothing else. So.
Yeah, I thought.
was
Listen,
your
I
hot
thought
take?
$25 million was an overpay.
I mean, Jalen Brunson's great, but like, not
come on now, I needed more fire for that.
I mean, the way that people are saying that Jalen Brunson is like a top 10 player in today's league, like right now, like
hot take.
I think that's a lot of ESPN bias, though.
Oh, it is for sure. Like I remember granted, Stephen A. Smith is not a good example. He's very much a Nick super fan. But when even he was starting to say that Jalen Brunson should be in the MVP talks, I'm like, are you serious? Like, I love Jalen Brunson. I do. I used to call him the Brunson burner. I was a big fan of his when we got him. I'm not putting Jalen Brunson top 10 right now. I'm not putting him in any MVP talks. And they're talking about how great he did in the playoffs, those 40-point games. But I'm like, okay. That was how I think a lot of people were saying Jalen wasn't worth the max. I mean, I felt like I was alone in that situation when it happened. When it happened.
I was for paying him 30.
Hold on. I remember during that whole situation, a lot of fans were saying, why don't we just pay him? Why don't we just pay him?
I was one of them.
Guys, I felt like the TNT guys, I thought they jumped the shark, and I was not sad to see them lose their broadcasting deal whenever Kenny and Shaq were out there carrying water that Brunson and Ant should be first team All NBA over SGA and Luka, which I was like, if you guys are, that's just I mean, there's opinions that, listen, an opinion, right? As long as it's not like something dangerous or something, obviously evil in nature, then you kind of got to let it go. But for me, it's just that's an irresponsible opinion. And yeah, Brunson, yeah, he's great, but he's not Luka. Hell, he's not SGA.
No.
So
he's
hold on. Yeah. Never mind. Yeah. Damn.
I don't know what happened
there. I mean, there's a lot of people saying he is top 10, and maybe we could argue that, but that's a different topic for a different day, though. But it's pretty interesting.
But like I said earlier, we can all agree that if he doesn't go to New York, he doesn't get this good. He doesn't show you what he can do. In Dallas, because in New York, arguably, at least from what I saw in the playoffs, at least, it was a Jalen Brunson show. Everybody else keep up. That doesn't happen if you're playing next to Luka. And I always argue that the reason why Kyrie works well with Luka is because Kyrie doesn't take anything away from Luka's game. Kyrie can play around Luka and still be productive. Why couldn't Kristaps Porzingis do that? Why couldn't I could name a bunch of other players that we try to pair with Luka. Like, why couldn't anyone else do that? But it works with Kyrie. Could Jalen Brunson still put up the same numbers he put in New York next to Luka? I think not.
Well, what did Jalen average last year?
What did it was like 23, 5, and 5 or something like that?
Similar. Wasn't that what Kyrie averaged?
Yeah, similar to Kyrie.
So I mean, I think
but is Jalen Brunson playing next to somebody with the usage of Luka, where Jalen Brunson actually had more usage this year than Luka did?
No, I think Kyrie's better in the sense that because Kyrie's putting up the same numbers next to Luka without sacrificing Luka's game. Luka actually was elevated.
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson averaged 28.7, 4 rebounds, and almost 7 assists.
And Kyrie was what, 25, 5, and 5?
Yeah, on 50, 40, 90. We kind of forget about that.
It was 49.8. 40.
No, it
He
was
missed.
49.7.
Yeah, he missed
49.7, 5
Well,
and 5.
it's still, listen, I understand that in the
50,
NBA,
40, 90.
they don't follow the rules of math, but the rules of math are that anything above 0.5, you round
it up.
Yeah.
Round up.
So,
yeah.
so I
But, I
certainly
mean-
think 0.7 or 0.8 is worth the round up. So,
But are we surprised? It's Kyrie Irving. I feel like, and I didn't want to be like a Kyrie conspiracy theorist, but after 2 years with him, I believe it's true. They do not want to give that man any type of credit, any type of accolade. We see it in the game. They don't call no fouls for him. None.
yeah. They did say something. Maybe, I don't know if it was. Oh yeah, it was today. They were talking about Brunson hitting the ground, and because you hit the ground, they don't call fouls, and they were trying to coach Jalen to not do that. And Kyrie does hit the ground a lot. So, but that's because his release is so late.
Yeah, he just stays in the air, levitating, and
it's crazy.
You got to
how
use
he does
every.
that.
Yeah, it's insane. Especially the if you remember this call by Mark Followell.
The Picasso of the paint, able to levitate.
That's one of my favorite calls. Able to levitate. Yeah. But yeah, man. It's about that time. I definitely was aiming to have a good little hour show here. Anything that y'all want to bring up out of that y'all seen out of the week? I know Luka's in China. We've already talked about the Luka weight issues that people have, which did not exist here. But anything else y'all saw with the Mavs? Or I could talk about the Mavs sell, but I'll let y'all go first.
I made contact with AVC, the guy that runs the AVC podcast.
What?
What's that?
Well, he played basketball. He was a basketball coach, and now he does playing time and all kinds of breakdowns and stuff. And he's under contract with several D1 teams, several NBA teams, and stuff like that. So, so there's some traction that we might have there with him. Anyway, yeah.
All right. Look at that. Any other news? Mavericks news, y'all got? It's been a dry week, man.
Yeah,
this is the Mavs news. Just disappears.
That's how it feels.
You got a 3-day weekend too.
That too.
Wonderful. There will be a video either tomorrow morning or afternoon on my channel, but Willie Cauley-Stein,
Who?
Willie Cauley-Stein. So Willie Cauley-Stein, he played for the Mavericks briefly. I want to say it was
he's out of Kentucky.
But he's been out the league for a while, and I can't remember the actual reports, but he either checked in or he just finished not therapy, good lord, rehab. Oh, I can't think of the word. Rehab. Thank you.
He actually, Marcel, let me tell you, he completed that rehab a long time ago. It's just now coming out, which was about to report. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because it made it seem like it was just now happening, but I know that he spoke on his whole situation, with substance abuse and all that stuff. So I'm gonna make a video, not really like it's breaking news. I'm going to do a different style of video, more just like a conversation about taking care of yourself.
Man, he didn't realize it, but he was addicted to fentanyl.
He was taking a lot of fentanyl, and he didn't even know he was taking it. But as Mavericks fans, we know Delonte West, right?
Yeah, sure.
So
the Willie Cauley-Stein thing. It was I could never figure out why he was such a head case, because he came out of Kentucky, and man, I was hoping that he would be Derek Lively before Derek Lively was even in college. You know what I mean?
He had the ability to, What's one thing that we see with a lot of these players that look good, and one thing that we see a lot with these players that look good in college is, at that time you're kind of trying to fight to get out of your situation to get to a better situation. And I don't know if y'all know about Sprewell, ex-player Sprewell.
Latrell?
Yeah.
He made it to the league,
Latrell.
and he was literally, paying for his entire family, like extended family. Like a lot of his money was just going to his family. So in college, you got these players who are really trying to fight, get out of the situation, get to a better situation. They get to the league, and it's like they don't know how to handle a better situation now. And I feel like that could have been the same for Willie Cauley-Stein, where like, you're a great player, like you look great in college, you could have been even better. And then you're floating around team to team, and you're still making millions, even getting pushed around teams. You're still making millions of dollars, but how are you able to manage this situation now? And some people can deal with it, some can't.
Yeah.
Well, Mark Stein said that Kyrie's still on track to be at training camp.
Oh, is
Kyrie
had his hand surgery?
She's asking about his hand
We ain't
surgery.
listening to them people now.
What?
I'm sorry.
I'm not, even when they announced his surgery like 2 months ago, I was like, I'm not worried about that. Let's get Kyrie's 2024-25 freak injury out of the way in the summer.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus, I mean, probably the next week or two, we're going to hear that he's good to go. I think the most recent report is he's not quite clear for 5-on-5,
Right, yeah.
but he's with the team right now,
Yeah.
so.
Where it was. I think they're all on vacation now for the holiday weekend. Did anybody see any pictures or anything coming out of that, LA?
I saw they were on Clay's new boat out there.
Well, that, I think some of us saw that. But I mean, as far as like in the gym or any of that stuff.
So
I saw Luka in the gym today.
I think I've told this story, but Nancy, I've hung out with a lot of professional athletes by virtue of what I do for a living, and one of the professional athletes I've hung out with several times was CC Sabathia, and we'd go to clubs and all that stuff, and he had a bodyguard, and if somebody took a picture, this guy that was bigger than CC Sabathia, who's a giant human being, would literally take their phone, and then if it was passcoded, he would make them give him the passcode, and then he would go through their phone and delete pictures. So I'm just telling you, from hanging out with those guys, they don't like pictures because, they might be like, like we used to say back in the day, he's faded. They're
All right, Joe. I see
Well,
you.
everything's on social media nowadays, and some stuff don't need to be there. It's all right for these people to have a private life,
Yeah.
I mean, we might be excited as fans to see it, and them in the gym and all, that's one thing, but unless they want their personal life out there, I don't need to know it, So.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about all these players having a podcast, like, okay, we know what you're doing, but it's not basketball related. And on the opposite of that, you got, Derek Lively showing you his Lego collection, going to a dinosaur, park, whatever. But I don't know. I mean, I think our guys
But that's his choice to do that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But sometimes these people, and the funny thing about it is when these guys don't want you in their space to that degree, like fans get all like crazy. Oh, they're so rude. They're so this. They're so that. It's like,
Well, it's really weird. I bet you Derek Lively has got death threats about how bad he shoots free throws. I mean, the world is full of absolutely crazy
people.
Hold on. We got to go back to something because we're about to be done. Put that back up.
What back up?
Put that back up, what you just had up there.
I
did not know
CBA?
this. Yeah, I just want to point out what I just read that I think is absolutely hilarious. So you can't invest in teams. You can invest in you can't invest in a team directly. It's through this private equity firm. So because Tim had put up about Kent with the new CBA, but players will also have the ability to promote or invest in betting in cannabis companies. So you can't bet, but you can invest in the companies that make money off the bets.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
And you can go invest in some weed.
Look, the weed thing I don't really care about. That's your own thing. But
we know why. I don't care either. I just think it's funny. Like, that's what we chose to let. Like, what? Come on. You can't smoke it when you play either, but you can invest in it.
Well, I think they changed it actually. I think the players
cannabis
they don't get tested for
not a
weed
scheduled drug in the NBA anymore.
Yeah,
so
because KD's always high. But no, like I absolutely hate how much gambling and sports betting has been embedded in sports now. I mean, it's always been there, right? Like this isn't new. There's always been sports
but
betting.
now it's extreme.
It's everywhere. It is literally everywhere. Like I've got a big TV in my office, and we always have ESPN on. And on the bottom, the little bottom banner, you see like the betting odds for this game. I'm like, what are we doing? And then it's like, you think you can do this and not have players try to trick the system? We've seen it already. Shohei almost got caught doing it. He had a fall guy for that.
Hold on. He did get caught. They just
had
don't want to screw up the $1 billion man. Let's just be honest.
He had a fall guy for it, right? But we also had Michael Porter Jr.'s brother in the NBA. He's about to go to prison for it, right?
There was lots of talk that legitimate conversations about Michael Jordan, and the reason why he took his little 2-year respite from the NBA was because of his gambling. Yeah. So
because he was gambling. Because what reason did Michael give the world for stepping away?
His father got murdered.
He wanted to go spend time with his family, is technically what he said.
So you can't do that in the off season?
Well,
you can't do that in between games?
Well, then he went and promptly rode a bus to play minor league baseball. Yeah, I mean,
and then also you're also making a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think he used family as it. He said more of a competitive nature. But his father had just been murdered, so that was the biggest thing. And if you ever watched him, his father was at every single game he ever played. And him and his father were like best friends. So I would imagine, and in the way in which he was murdered, had a lot to do emotionally with it. Because if you remember the first season he came back and he played, because he would never be a player to step over the picket line when he went to play baseball. But the baseball thing was always like his father's thing and his thing. And I guess he figured he'd give it a shot. And he's so competitive, you know. But when you think about when he won that championship, and they actually showed a clip of him in the locker room, and he was laying on the floor just bawling because it was actually on Father's Day.
Yep.
Absolutely bawling. And the cameras, I mean, this is what, talk about insanity in the media. The cameras just panterize on him and just stay there as he's literally face planted on the floor, just bawling, and you see his whole body just rocking from how badly he's crying. And they literally don't even move off of him. Like, it was uncomfortable as a fan to watch that. Do you know?
Well, Nancy, it's almost 30 years ago, and it's still good cinema today. So, I mean, overrated.
You know what? Get Marcel off the show. But anyway, no, Nancy. What you failed to mention, Nancy, was when he fell on the top of the ball, that Mark Brown tried to snatch the ball out of his hand.
I was just gonna say that guy literally tried to steal the ball away from him. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Who are you, and what is your name? Like, are you serious right now? Like, literally trying to steal the ball out from him. He literally grabbed it out of Jordan's hands. And we're like, dude, what are you doing? What is your name?
Yeah, I think it was, that was Mark Brown, I believe. Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, I will punch you right now.
But modern NBA, you can invest in betting companies as well as cannabis. Cool. It's all about the money, right, Sticks?
But can you bet on cannabis?
Yeah, the whole betting thing is a little extreme now. It's really pushed.
You mean you don't like having the entire game be constantly broadcasting on the side? They just pop up on the side over here, and they're like, "Oh, today's your daily fantasy bets. This is what we're going for." Blah 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 blah. If you want to get, it's like, dude, just
I don't like that.
Game.
Well, no. Did you guys not see they started doing simulcasts last year where there was an alternate channel that showed just them talking about all the betting numbers on everything that was on? And I was like, this is terrible.
Football.
That's so
weird.
Football
leads in that.
Do we not understand? Like, I thought it was like a universally known fact that gambling is an addiction. Right?
Yeah.
Wait, that's why at the bottom they say if you have a gambling addiction, rather than they say, by the way, here's the odds.
So why are we promoting it? Why are we promoting it? I don't go to Alcoholic Anonymous with a 12-pack like, yo, what's up? You want to get lit? Like, yo, what are we doing? Like, you're not trying to help.
Could you imagine? Hold on. Could you imagine? Could you imagine you go to AA, and as you start up, they're like, AA is brought to you by
Tito. What's up? Like, yo, like, what are we doing here?
Addiction problem. Make sure you stay in this room or
Randy
call this
Brown.
800
That's
number.
what it is.
But by the way,
Big
we
J,
got a
his
sell
name was
today.
Randy
This is
Brown.
the best deal you can get.
MTV Luca 77. Yes, it was Randy Brown.
I absolutely can't stand gambling at all. I have never been to a casino. I never bought no scratch off. Like I don't touch that because it's a slippery slope. People lose their lives, their houses, their cars. Like they ruin their lives with this, as well as with a lot of other things. But I just hate how I can't watch a sports game without knowing the odds and the over under and the spread and another. I don't care, bro. Stop trying to get me addicted to gambling. Stop it. I want to watch the game.
Well, you know what the crazy thing
TGK's
is?
like, yeah, that's a good bet. I'm gonna go do that real quick.
The crazy thing
now that I think of
is,
it.
I don't know if it was this year or last year. How long has betting been there now? I can't remember. Guys, how long has betting been going on? Last year it started, right?
Like,
I mean,
No, I mean
fantasy's been
that they
around.
promoted it. It's last year it started. Where
No,
they
it's been at least 6 years, at least.
Oh gosh.
Now it's been getting stronger and stronger every year. Last two
I
have
didn't
been
realize
crazy. But yeah.
Well, okay, but the crazy thing is, there for a while it was out of control, where people were losing money and going after players, like at the arenas. Like there was like a couple incidences where these guys were going because either they missed a shot toward the end of the game that jacked up some of their whatever they were trying to bet on.
Their
And I
parlay.
think Damon Lillard had an issue, and then I forget the other two names I heard. But it was like insane, crazy stuff where they were going after the players.
Hey, who would be their sponsor? Who would be the sponsor?
Snoop Dogg.
Imagine a marijuana flower patch on the Mavs jersey instead of Chime. It would be.
Which cannabis company would it be?
It'd have to be Mike Tyson's cannabis company. That one or Snoop Dogg's, one or two. You gotta get big names. You gotta get a big
There's
name.
way bigger companies than those two. So,
Are there?
oh, dude.
I wouldn't know, Joe. I would not know.
I wouldn't know. I live in Texas. They ain't allowed out here.
I can't believe it took this long for someone, and of course it's MVP Luka, to bring that subject up. What's your thoughts?
None.
And that's
None
the
at all.
show.
And that's the show, guys. It's time to end it. Hey, it was a great one. Great show, y'all.
I'm like, what do you say fuck me for?
That's MVP right now. But yeah, man. It is almost 10:30. I want y'all to enjoy y'all's weekend. Appreciate everybody being here. Any final comments before we head out, man? Like real quick, let's go across the board. Everybody, what's up? Let's
Drink water.
Let's start with Sticks. What do you think? What you got?
Oh, you talking to me? Should I go that like
Yeah,
you
I'm looking at you.
Yeah. I don't have any final thoughts.
All right, what about you, Marcel?
I don't really have any.
Drink water.
Happy Labor Day. Good night,
I'd have rather
everybody.
had no thought than saying drink water.
Drink water.
Ooh.
Drink water.
Do we do this now? Do we do this? Come on, Big Jake.
I'm in the corner. I'm in the corner. So.
No, you're down straight below. You're straight below me.
What? Did y'all get rid of Joe?
No, Joe.
Joe got rid of himself.
Oh man.
He leaves before I could end the show, which is like really rude.
He said, "Have a happy Labor Day, great Labor Day." That's what he said.
Yeah, I know.
Now I got to look
All
at
right,
an
man.
angle and down to look at Big Jake. I'll be like,
Where's he? Oh, right here. What's up, Big J? What you doing,
What's going
buddy?
on?
What's up, man?
We're waiting on you to do another video game stream, you know.
Hey, did you like those? You know, I'm trying.
My son was watching you show off your GTA collection.
Ah, yeah. That's what's up. All right.
So I'm ready for the training camp to get going and some interviews to get started, and for our guys to come out of the gate rocking and rolling and ready to take the NBA by storm. And we're gonna have a great season.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly what we need. We need to start the season off on a great start. That's what we need to take that first spot, number one in the West. All right, man. Catch y'all later. It's been your boy TGK. Appreciate y'all being here. For those on the screen, y'all already know we got our own post show anyway, and we are out. Adios.